Welcome back. Bruchim habaim b'shem Adonai. Blessed are you who come here in the name of God. O God, today we come before you to take responsibility. Today we come before you eager and prepared for sincere change. The time for preparation has long passed. Our propensity for excuses is not welcome today. Today, we do not seek to escape personal responsibility. Today, we do not fault our parents or our siblings or our childhood traumas. Today, we do not blame society or the economy or their various institutions. Today, we do not hide behind the perception that our job or our family or our friends, not even a pandemic, holds us back. Judaism teaches us that we are free, not free to do anything we want, for we have obligations to other people, but free to choose a dozen times a day how we shall react to life's challenges, and in this small way to mold ourselves to become better than we were in the past year. Baruch atah Adonai harotzeh b'teshuvah. We praise you, Adonai, our God, for you welcome our desire to change. We're on page 138, Ma Tovu.
Oh
holidays, and I'm running for president of the United States of your mind. I want to be your president. I want to be your exemplar, your paradigm, your model. And I stand here today because we need a precedent in our world which will bring us back to our best selves. Hi, I'm running for president on the high holidays. Hi, I'm running for president on the high holidays. I am the high holidays, and I approve this message. We continue our service on page 176 with the 78, with the Baruch Hu, we rise.
Like an unbroken current, energy streams from the source, bathing the planet in light, calling forth life, movement, mind unfolding from matter, the power to love. And we offer it back to you, our own creative energy, ever dreaming, building, shaping patterns out of chaos, searching out light in the darkness. Creation never ceases, not for an instant. All life is aglow with your light. All things draw sustenance from the source. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer Hamarot. Our praise to you, Adonai, creator of the lights of heaven.
Page 186. Long ago, in the courtyard of the temple on the holy day of Yom Kippur, the high priest proclaimed aloud the sacred name of God. And all the people fell to the ground, prostrated themselves, and called, "Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever." Millennia have passed, but still we speak these words aloud, witnesses forever to the truth of God's dominion. Seated, page 188.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Emet v'yatziv, true and enduring, all else is fluid, impermanent, fleeting.
Unsteady we falter, in chaos we cry, in quest for some certainty, an anchor for trust.
Tzul chayenu, magen yish'enu, rock of our lives, our shield and protector. You are the constant, abiding through time.
The rock whose works speak of wholeness and justice, you, the still center, fixed point where we stand.
From the ends of the earth, from the depths of despair, we call with the psalmist to our fortress and refuge. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I.
Our rock and salvation, our shelter and strength, grounded in you, we shall never be shaken.
The towers of cities will crumble with age, and iron corrodes and decays into rust.
But the words and the teachings that echo from Sinai are true and enduring. Forever they stand.
Israel, ופדחי נומך יהודה וישראל. Go עלינו, אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
In the depths of night, by the edge of the river, Jacob was left alone. In heartfelt longing in the temple of God, Hannah uttered her prayer, alone. In the barren wilderness, in doubt and despair, Elijah found God, alone. On the holiest day, in the Holy of Holies, the high priest entered, alone. We are bound to one another in myriad ways, but each soul needs time to itself. In solitude, we meet the solitary one. Silence makes space for the still small voice. For the psalmist said, deep calls unto deep, From the depths of our soul, we seek what is most profound. Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
The tefillah on page 200, we rise. You see, once upon a time, more than 3,000 years ago, our ancestors had a dream. They stood at the foot of a trembling mountain and envisioned a future. They saw a homeland and they saw freedom. And it was there that the framer presented us with a constitution, and we called that constitution the Torah. And together, we marched to the promised land, the united state of mind. Yes, I'm the High Holy Days, and I'm running for president. Because when we hear the sound of my shofar, I want you to be awakened to your allegiance to goodness and godliness. You know, our ancestors had a lot of courage. They argued with God, and they wrestled with angels, and they dared to dream of freedom. And now is the time for you to do the same. Choose me as your precedent, and make the coming years of your lives be about engaging with God and wrestling with our tradition and dreaming lofty dreams. Choose me as your precedent so that in every encounter you have with another, you remember that our tradition has the audacity to proclaim that every person is created in God's image. And that means when you look into the face of another human being, you are seeing a reflection of the divine. And that also goes for looking in the mirror too. When you look in the mirror, you're seeing the face of God. Choose me as your precedent, so that when you are discouraged, you will recall these days and realize that just as our calendar is renewed, so too can you feel a sense of renewal as well. Just choose me as your precedent. If you choose me as your precedent, Avinu Malkeinu will not just be simple words or a prayer or a song for you, but it will be a rallying cry. So when you say Avinu Malkeinu kale kol tsar umastin me alenu, Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror, you will know that our values will not let us ignore the pain caused by ruthless dictators around the world. You know, I remember those first people who stood at the foot of Mount Sinai and trembled when they heard the sound of the original shofar. You want to know what your ancestors said when they were offered the Torah? They said, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will hear. And at that moment, a sense of purpose coursed through their veins. And I stand here today to remind you of that sense of purpose, and help you restore it in your life. Just choose me, the High Holy Days, as your precedent. We're on page 208. Let us proclaim the power of this day, a day whose holiness awakens deepest awe and inspires highest praise for your dominion. For your throne is a throne of love. Your reign is a reign of truth. In truth, you are judge and plaintiff, counselor and witness. You inscribe and seal, you record and recount. You remember all that we have forgotten, and when you open the book of memories, it speaks for itself. For every human hand leaves its mark, an imprint like no other. And so a great shofar will cry Tekiah. A still small voice will be heard. Angels, in a whirl of fear and trembling, will say, "Behold, the day of judgment," for they too are judged. In your eyes, even they are not blameless. All who come into the world pass before you like sheep before their shepherd. As a shepherd considers the flock when it passes beneath the staff, you count and consider every life. You set bounds, you decide destiny, you inscribe judgments.
An empty page, an open book. Nothing is written and nothing is sealed. Flesh and blood frail creatures. Our lives are fleeting and subject to chance. Yet this we possess, the strength to persist, to prevail, to comfort one another in the dark. Prayer, right action, a turning toward the good. These give us hope and help us bear the pain of life.
An empty page, an open book, nothing is written and nothing is sealed. Flesh and blood, frail creatures, our lives are fleeting and subject to chance. Yet this we possess, the strength to persist, to prevail, to comfort one another in the dark. Prayer, right action, a turning toward the good. These give us hope and help us bear the pain of life.
Our service continues now on page 232 in your Machzor, in your prayer book. Our God and God of the generations before us, may a memory of us ascend and come before you. May it be heard and seen by you, winning your favor and reaching your awareness, together with the memory of our ancestors, the memory of your sacred city, Jerusalem, and the memory of your people, the family of Israel. May we be remembered for safety, well-being, and favor, for love and compassion, for life and for peace, on this day of atonement.
זכרנו אדוני אלוהינו בו לטובה
Amen.
ופוקדנו בו לברכה
Amen.
והושיענו בו לחיים
Amen. Eternal our God, remember us, be mindful of us, and redeem us for a life of goodness and blessing. Amen. Our God and God of our forebears, pardon our feelings on this day of atonement, erase our misdeeds, see beyond our defiance. For Isaiah said in your name, it is I alone, who wipe away your defiant acts. This is my essence. I shall pay no heed to your errors. And the prophet said, as a cloud fades away, as mist dissolves into air, so your wrongs and mistakes shall be gone. I will wipe them away. Come back to me that I may redeem you. As you said to Moses, for on this day atonement shall be made for you, to purify you from all your wrongs, and pure you shall be in the presence of Adonai. Page 237.
ברוך אתה אדוני מלך מוחל וסולח לעוונותינו ולעוונות עמו בית ישראל ומעביר אשמותינו בכל שנה ושנה מלך על כל הארץ מקדש ישראל ביום הכיפורים.
Amen. So, once again, we have reached a part of the service which has become quite important to me. It's at this time that I single out a group of people who have been so valuable to the strength and vitality of our congregation. These are the non-Jewish spouses in our community. Now, I hope you are watching, and I hope you are with me here because I want you to know that I am aware that you do not all fit into a specific group with shared approaches. I know that some of you consider this synagogue to be like a second home to you. You've already absorbed our language and our nuances, and it is so sweet to see you here. And I am also so delighted to know that we have the capacity to meet many of your personal, spiritual, and communal needs. I'm also aware that some of you are, as we would say in Yiddish, the schleppers. And I mean that positively. You schlep here, you schlep there. You schlep your kids to Hebrew school or to services or to a program. And I know that this has not been the case over the last 6 months, but in general, you are happily driving here and there and enabling. You do it lovingly. You've agreed with your spouse to create a Jewish family, and this is part of what it means. I am personally so grateful for your earnest efforts to support the building of a Jewish family, even though I know that at times it can be foreign to you. Some of you who are watching this morning are simply sitting next to your spouse just to be supportive. 1 or 2 days a year, your spouse says, please, please. Typically they say, come with me to the synagogue. Today they said, sit with me, and you do it. And I thank you for doing it. Religion in families and in relationships, it can be very tricky. I'm aware of that. You are watching today as a way of communicating to your loved ones that you understand that this place, the synagogue, is important to the Jewish people and to your spouse. And you get that. And so I thank you. I thank you for your support. Thank you for making the decision to raise your children as Jews. For some of you, it was an easy choice, but for others, it was not so easy. You've made sacrifices for our people, and I experience those sacrifices as truly a great gift to us. And so I wish to share with you a blessing. It's a blessing which comes from the Talmud. And in this section of the Talmud, the rabbis, or sages, they're arguing about the best thing to say when we come across a person of extraordinary beauty. And I know that they were talking about beauty not just on the outside, but on the inside. And this was the blessing that they said. They said, you should say, Baruch atah Adonai. We praise you, Adonai, our God. Shekacha lo be'olamo. For your world and our community is filled with such beauty. I thank you. Amen. We are on page 244. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Barchenu b'bracha hamshuleshet hakatuva b'Torah. Our God, divine presence, whose path our ancestors walked, bless us now with words first bestowed on Israel in the time of Moses and Aaron, the threefold blessing given us through Torah that joins our hopes with theirs. May God bless you and protect you. May it be so. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may you receive the light of God's kindness and grace. May it be so.
Shalom, shalom.
Ken Yehi Ratzon. May God bestow favor upon you and give you peace. May it be so. We pause for a moment of silent reflection. service continues now with Avinu Malkeinu, page 252. We rise.
Avinu Malkeinu Shema Koleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, Almighty and merciful, hear our voice.
Avinu Malkeinu Chatanu Lefanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you.
Avinu Malkeinu Chamol Aleinu Ve'alol Aleinu V'tapeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and on our families.
Avinu Malkeinu Kalei Dever V'cheref Raov Me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger.
Avinu Malkeinu Kalei Kontzar Umastin Me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror.
Avinu Malkeinu Kotveinu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim.
Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived.
Avinu Malkeinu Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness.
Avinu Malkeinu Malei Yadeinu Mibirchotecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessing.
Avinu Malkeinu Harei Mekeren Meshichecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, let our eyes behold the dawn of redemption.
Avinu Malkeinu Na'al Teshivenu Rekam Milfanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, we pray do not turn us away from you with nothing.
Avinu Malkeinu Kabel Berachamim Uvratzon Tefilateinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, welcome our prayer with love, accept and embrace it.
Avinu Malkeinu Aseimanu Lemon Shemecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name.
Avinu Malkeinu Asei Lemancha Im Lo Lema'anenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake, if not for ours.
Avinu Malkeinu Ein Lanu Melech Ela Ata.
Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our sovereign.
Avinu Malkeinu Petach Sha'arei Shamayim Litefilateinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer.
Avinu Malkeinu Shema Koleinu Chus V'rachem Aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice, treat us with tender compassion.
Avinu Malkeinu Choneinu Aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu Choneinu Aneinu Ki ein banu masim. Aseh
You know, I'm so happy to be standing here at Temple Beth Shalom in Arnold, Maryland, the synagogue that you built. Make it mean something. I'm campaigning for president of the United State of Mind. We may not be here together in person, but I feel your presence here with me in this sanctuary. And even though I cannot see your reaction, I can tell that you agree with me that the time has come for a change in the way we do things. The time has come for us to be using me, the high holy days, as a precedent in your life. I stand for taking responsibility for the things we have done. If you choose me as precedent, you can no longer ignore the people you have hurt and no longer disregard the wrongs you have committed. In fact, acknowledgement is but the first step of a multi-tiered plan that I have. After you have recognized what you have done, you need to seek out the person you have wronged, apologize, and try to make things right again. And if you choose me, the High Holy Days as precedent, I assure you that your life will be one of greater richness and deeper meaning. Try it, you'll see. With the High Holy Days as your precedent, you can take a personal inventory. You can consider the gifts that you misused and the time that you misspent. You know, there was a young lady named Hannah Senish who wrote in her diary in 1940, she said, "I want to make a confession. I want to give an accounting to myself and to God. I want to measure my life and actions against the lofty ideals I have set for myself. I want to compare that which should have been with that which was." Extraordinary words from an extraordinary woman. And with the High Holy Days as your precedent, you can compare any petty argument you have in the future with the frightening words of the Unatana Tokef prayer, which declares, "On Rosh Hashanah it is written, and on Yom Kippur it is sealed, who shall live and who shall die?" And you know how that prayer continues. "Who by fire?" And when you hear that, you'll cry over the devastating forest fires in California. "Who by hunger?" it says. And you'll think about the 1 in 5 families in America who are currently suffering from food insecurity as a result of the coronavirus. "Who by plague?" And you'll take a breath of relief and thanks for having the flexibility to stay in your house during this COVID-19 pandemic for as long as you have chosen. With the High Holy Days as your precedent, you will realize that so many of the things that upset you in your life pale in comparison to who shall live and who shall die. And you will choose mercy over revenge, empathy over grudge, affection over isolation. If you choose the High Holy Days as your precedent, you will remember to be humble before God, and you'll show that humility by caring for God's earth. You know, just a few days ago, we celebrated the 5,781st anniversary of when God placed Adam in the Garden of Eden. And he placed Adam in the garden with a single purpose. That purpose was to cultivate the garden and preserve it. Our job is to be like Adam and protect this earth for the sake of our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. And this is what can happen if you choose me as your precedent.
Eternal Presence, who blessed our mothers and fathers, bless this holy congregation, a house of study, prayer, and righteous deeds. Together we give thanks for our leaders, those who learn, teach, and uphold the Torah, inspiring others to learn, teach, and uphold the Torah. Those who do the sacred work of building our community, may their service bring them joy, fulfillment, and purpose, and may they go from strength to strength.
For our members, diverse in age, interest, and background, Jews by birth, Jews by choice, and those of other faiths who join with us, all who offer their time and talent their love, and commitment.
For all who come here on this holy day of Yom Kippur to share the search for meaning and renewal, your presence is a blessing, your friendship a gift. May the spirit of peace, dignity, and respect live within these walls, inspiring us to care for one another with compassion. And may we be a source of goodness, light, and healing for the world.
May the one who blessed the generations before us bless us as we stand together this day, one congregation joined with all Jewish communities of the world through our prayers on this Day of Atonement.
Let us renew ourselves for the year ahead. Let us honor the precious legacy that is ours.
Because I was angry, because I didn't think, because I was exhausted and on edge, because I'd been drinking, because I could be mean, because I was reckless and selfish, because I was worried about money, because my marriage was dead, because other people were doing it, because I thought I could get away with it, because I did something wrong.
Because I'm in pain, because I wish I could undo it, because I hurt him, because I lost her trust, because I let them down, because I was self-destructive, because I was foolish, because I'm ashamed, because that's not who I am, because that's not who I want to be, because I want to be forgiven.
God, bring down my walls of defensiveness and self-righteousness. Help me to stay in humility.
Please give me the strength to do what's right.
Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence, and when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong. The Vidui, page 296, please rise.
Oh
Shanu,
Sararinu,
Saranu,
Kishinu Oraf,
Kishinu,
Ay, 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 Rashanu,
Rashanu,
Shichatnu,
Shichanu,
Tiavnu,
Ti'anu,
Tainu,
Ta'inu,
Titanu.
298. Our turning away from your mitzvot and laws of goodness is a hollow pursuit. You are just concerning all that happens in our lives. Your way is the way of truth, while ours leads to error. What can we say to you, whose existence is beyond time and space? What words of ours can reach your realm, beyond the clouds, beyond heaven itself? Every hidden mystery, every revelation, surely you know them all. You know the secrets of the universe and the secrets of the human heart. You know and understand us, for you examine our inner lives. Nothing is concealed from you, nothing hidden from your sight. Eternal One, our God and God of our ancestors, we pray that this be your will. Forgive all our wrongs. Pardon us for every act of injustice. Help us atone for all our moral failures. Al Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha, the Vidui, page 300.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך באונס ורצון, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביודעים ובלא יודעים.
The ways we have wronged you under duress and by choice, and harm we have caused in your world consciously and unconsciously.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בבלי דעת, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בריצת רגליים להרע.
The ways we have wronged you through our thoughtlessness, and harm we have caused in your world through impulsive acts of malice.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בחוזק יד, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בזלזול הורים ומורים.
The ways we have wronged you by abusing our power, and harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביצר הרע, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בקשיות תורה.
The ways we have wronged you by giving in to our hostile impulses, and harm we have caused in your world through inflexibility and stubbornness.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בכחש ובכזב, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בקלות ראש.
The ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and harm we have caused in your world by making light of serious matters.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בשיח שפתותינו, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בצרות עין.
The ways we have wronged you in our routine conversations, and harm we have caused in your world through envy.
Thank you. לפניך בגלוי ובסתר, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בשנאת חינם.
The ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, and harm we have caused in your world by hating without cause.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בפריקת עול, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך במאכל ובמשתה.
The ways we have wronged you by losing self-control, and harm we have caused in your world through consumption of food and drink.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בגילוי עריות, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך באימוץ הלב.
The ways we have wronged you through sexual immorality, and harm we have caused in your world by hardening our hearts.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בנשך ובמרבית, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך במשא ומתן.
The ways we have wronged you through greed and exploitation, and harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty in business.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בהרהור הלב, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ברכילות.
The ways we have wronged you through our innermost thoughts, and harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בכפות שוחד, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בחילול השם.
The ways we have wronged you by offering or accepting bribes, and harm we have caused you in your world by profaning your name in public. We are seated. Now, my opponents will tell you that you don't need me. They will tell you that the values of our people are only worthy when they are convenient. My opponents will tell you that our heritage is only useful for life cycle events or limited rituals. But I'm here to tell you that if you choose me as your precedent, you will not be asking what you can do for the High Holy Days. But you will know what the High Holy Days can do for you. With the High Holy Days as your precedent, I cannot promise you a chicken in every pot or a car in every garage. But I can promise you a hand to hold as we make our way through challenging times. And these are challenging times, to be sure. I can offer you a hand to hold during a pandemic, which we don't dare to predict an endpoint for because we don't want to be disappointed when we realize how wrong we were. A hand to hold during a political race which seems to be sucking the lifeblood from us. A hand to hold during a profound crisis of race in our nation, which makes us question the claim of the Declaration of Independence that all men are created equal. A hand to hold as we consider who will take a seat on our nation's most crucial court. Yes, these have been challenging times. And having a hand to hold, a hand that I promise will be there for you if you choose me as your precedent, a hand to hold will help you get through these challenging times. And when these times are behind us, and I promise that they will be behind us, that hand to hold will be with you in all of your moments, difficult and joyous, painful and loving, mundane and holy. My fellow Jews, a few hours from now, the polls will be closing at the time of Ne'ilah. But it's not too late to choose me. Choose me for a life of purpose. Choose me for a life of connectedness. Choose me so that you can communicate the values that you hold so precious. Choose me for a life of love. The gates of Ne'ilah will be closing soon, but it's not too late. It's never too late. My friends, may God bless you all and keep you all. And may God bless our united Jewish state of mind. Our service continues with the singing of Hayom on page 318.
Hayom, 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 hayom. Hayom, 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 hayom. Hayom et Eloheinu, amen, amen. Hayom, 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 hayom. Hayom, 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 hayom et Tevarcheinu, amen. Hayom, 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 hayom. Hayom, 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 hayom tigadleinu, amen. Hayom, 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 tidrashenu letova, amen. Hayom, 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 tichtevenu lechayim tovim, amen. Hayom, 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 tishma shavateinu, amen. Hayom, 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 titnafaleinu, amen. Hayom, 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 titmachenu bimin tzidkecha, amen.
In just a moment, we will continue with remarks by the president of our congregation, and then the service for the reading of the Torah. As I mentioned to you last week, and at the beginning of our Rosh Hashanah morning service, this is all new to us, just like it is new to you. we spent time between Rosh Hashanah and today trying to come up with new ideas. Last week we tried to do the Torah service and discussion on Zoom. This week, small changes. We will be reading the Torah on the stream and then having a discussion about the afternoon's Haftarah of Jonah on Zoom immediately afterwards. So, stay right here with us for the first remarks by the president, then the reading of the Torah portion, Nitzavim, and then followed, you switch over to Zoom if you'd like to participate in a discussion of the Haftarah in a short while. This is the president.
My fellow Temple Beth Shalom family, it's a great honor to address you as president of this vibrant Jewish community on this, our holiest day of the year. Since this is my first address as your president, I would like to introduce myself through my life's journey. Life is a journey filled with lessons learned, joyous celebrations, heartaches, hardships, and special moments that lead us to our destination and purpose in life. As you will hear from me, the road was not always smooth. In fact, throughout our travels, we encounter many challenges. I grew up in Jamaica, West Indies, in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Today, my background has propelled me to understand the heart of the other and the meaning of community. As a little girl, I was taught to observe the Sabbath with services starting at sundown Friday through sundown on Saturday. Today, Shabbat continues to be a cornerstone of my life, giving me precious moments of pause and renewal. During my teenage years, I became a Pathfinder leader, sang in the choir, and was the youth leader. I participated in basically everything that encouraged spiritual growth. Today, I carry that leadership drive with me, now reaching the highest level of leadership as president of Temple Beth Shalom. Growing up, I was heavily influenced by my older sister, following her footsteps as choir leader and educator. I am grateful for the lessons she taught me about the power of music, the importance of education, and the courage to be a leader. After graduating from college, I got married at a young age to one of the ministerial students, and that placed me in a position to work with and help mold the young lives in our community, as well as attending to the needs of older generations. The union later produced a son who now resides in Florida. Time and circumstances took their toll on the marriage, and when it was evident that the union was over, I relocated to the United States. On my arrival here in the United States, I decided it was time to look at a new career. After much thought, I realized I could help families better by getting into the financial services business. So I got my licenses and became an independent contractor with Primerica in 1989. And since then, I've become a regional vice president and currently supervise 23 agents. Back in the days when there was no JDate, eHarmony, or singles.com, one would have to place an ad in the newspaper. That's what I did. I placed an ad in the Washington Post. Of course, I got several responses, but reading the one from Alan Browse was the cheeky catch that seemed like the stimulating challenge I was ready for. So we met and went on 3 different dates and realized we were meant for each other. Shortly after meeting Alan, he gave me his Star of David from his bar mitzvah days and told me, "You will be the Jew in the family." What that meant never crossed my mind. Although Alan was 15 years my senior, you could not tell, as his hair forgot to go gray, as he always said, and we did everything fun together. Alan and I loved each other and complimented each other. Friends who knew us often said we were joined at the hips. He loved and supported everything I did. With Alan's 2 and my 1, together we had 3 children and 5 grandchildren until recently when our daughter Jessica Browse died. I love them all and endeavor to play an active role in their lives. Alan and I lived in the Annapolis area from 2003 until his death in 2008. During Alan's lifetime in Annapolis, we searched out and found Temple Beth Shalom, visited the Judaica shop, met Faye Wise, who invited us to attend the Friday night Shabbat service while the building was under construction. We attended and met with Rabbi Ari Goldstein and then student cantor Arik Luck and loved them and the community at the onset. Fast forward to mid-2008 when Alan became very ill. I reached out to Rabbi Goldstein for help. Although we were not yet members, he never wavered in his help. Upon Alan's passing, the rabbi, Valerie Nichols, and the sisterhood were all there to support me and the rest of the family. This is why we all need to take an active part in the Jewish community and not allow COVID-19 to prevent us from supporting each other, although we have to adhere to physical distancing. After Alan's death in 2008, I decided to become a Jew by choice in his memory, and I became a member of Temple Beth Shalom. I have served on the temple board in different positions for the past 7 years, as well as serving as the sisterhood president for about the same time. During this time, I started Nashera, the adult choir, learned Hebrew, and became a bat mitzvah in Israel. I have had my own share of ups and downs in life, but I have never wavered. In 1989, I was diagnosed with diabetes, later had to have 2 open heart surgeries with 7 bypass grafts and a total of 17 stents. As if that was not enough, in November 2017, I spent 30 days in Anne Arundel Medical Center for urgent abdominal surgery. And there, my temple community came to my rescue for the entire duration. Why am I sharing this part of my life with you? It's to remind us that we are part of a bigger community and that we all need each other in good times and bad times. Rabbi Akiva taught, love your neighbor as yourself, Leviticus 19:18. This is the most important rule in the Torah, Jerusalem Talmud, Nedarim 30b. Without love, it is impossible to treat others as they deserve. Each person is likened to an entire world in Judaism. Remembering this, help us to see the value in each and every person we come across and can help us remember the key Torah commandment to be kind. Besides family and my beloved Jewish community, some of the pleasures are vegetarian cooking, to which I always add a splash of color to everything I prepare and even everything I wear and everything I do. My garden is like a lifeline. It keeps me in a positive, earthy, anticipatory mood, especially since butterflies and birds graciously compliment my garden, and I learn from them every day. Most of all, I love life and I find humor in everything I do. In closing, serving as president during this time of unprecedented challenges for our community, our country, and our world is my deepest honor and privilege. My life's journey has taught me 3 things. First, there is nothing as important as being part of a community. Second, playing an active role in that community can bring us all the gifts of connection and joy. And third, when we lead by example to our children or to our neighbors, we demonstrate by example the best part of our humanity. These are the 3 lessons I hope to impart to you as president of our holy community. And I invite you to partner with me in this journey by challenging yourself. Join me and be part of this congregation in a way you haven't before. take on a project, volunteer, take a class, lead by example, so we can build up Temple Beth Shalom. So many opportunities are here, just waiting for you. Additionally, the annual appeal is a very important part of our being. So let me use this opportunity to ask that you support the annual appeal this year more than ever for the financial well-being of the temple as we endeavor to get through some of the economic challenges of our community and current budget. Gamar Hatima Tova, may you be sealed in the book of life.
Welcome back. So we continue now with the service for reading the Torah. It can be found on page 255, and it begins with Ein Kamocha, we rise.
Ein kamocha Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. Al varachamim eitiva virtzonecha et Zion tivnei chomot Yerushalayim ki yvelcha levad batachnu Melech el Ram Nisa Adon Olamim. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum Chanun, Adonai. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum Chanun, Adonai. Erech Apayim v'Rav Chesed v'Emet Adonai. Natzir Chesed l'alafim, Nosei Aron v'Fesha b'chuta v'nakeh. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum Chanun, Adonai. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum Chanun, Adonai. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'nora Shemo, Gadol Adonai iti, ונרוממו שמו יחדיו. לך אדוני הגדולה והגבורה והתפארת והנצח וההוד. תיכול בשמיים ובארץ ככל בשמיים
Well, we are seated. So many religions are centered around death. Take the ancient Egyptians, for example. They built pyramids for their dead and were mummified to prevent decay. They were even buried with their possessions to carry with them to the next world. And yet, when the Israelites left Egypt, one of the principal rules was that the priests were forbidden to come into contact with a dead person, even enter a cemetery. Hinduism and Buddhism teach reincarnation. You live over and over again based on your karma, but the ultimate goal is to escape it and enter nirvana, so you no longer need to return to this world of suffering. These religions contain many beautiful things, but the embrace of life in this world is not necessarily what's central. Christianity and Islam also put an emphasis on the world to come, a heavenly bliss. Of course, for Christians and Muslims, our actions as we live will dictate how it will go for us when we die. Still, the goal is heaven, not our life. So many religions see the world as a place of pain and imperfection. There is a longing to escape it, to choose death over life. On our holiest day of the year, Yom Kippur, the Torah tells us, I have placed before you blessing and curse, life and death. Choose life. The blessing for the Torah can be found on page 258 and recited. I will recite the blessings, and the officers of our congregation will conclude my blessing for me, and then Rabbi Hannah Yerushalmi, standing to my left, will be reading the Torah portion of Nitzavim. So the blessing is on 258, and if you have a book and you'd like to follow along with the Torah portion itself, 266. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed, Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
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 Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem. Rashechem, Shiftechem, Ziknechem, Veshotrechem, Kol Ish Yisrael. Tapchem, Neshechem, V'gercha asher bekerev machanecha, Mechotev atzecha ad shoev meimecha, Le'ovrecha bivrit Adonai Elohecha uve'alato. Asher Adonai Elohecha koret imcha hayom, Leman hakimotcha hayom lo le'am, V'hu yihiyeh lach le'Elohim. Kasher diber lach v'asher nishba la'avotecha, le'Avraham, le'Yitzchak u'le'Yaakov, v'lo itchem levachem anochi koret et habrit hazot v'et ha'ala hazot, ki et asher yeshno po imanu omed hayom lifnei Adonai Eloheinu, ve'et asher enenu po imanu hayom. Ki hamitzvah hazot, asher anochi metzavcha hayom, lo nifleit hi mimcha, ve'lo rechoka hi, Lo v'shamayim hi lemor mi alel lanu hashamayma v'ikacheha lanu v'yashmienu ota v'na'asena. V'lo me'ever layam hi lemor mi yavor lanu el ever hayam v'ikacheha lanu v'yashmienu ota v'na'asena. Ki karov elecha hadavar me'od v'ficha u'vilvavcha la'asoto. Re'eh natati lefanecha hayom et hachayim ve'et hatov ve'et hamavet ve'et hara. Asher anochi mitzavcha hayom le'ahava et Adonai Elohecha, la'lechet bidrachav v'lishmor mitzvotav v'chukotav u'mishpatav, v'chayita, v'ravita, u'v'rachacha Adonai Elohecha ba'aretz asher ata v'ashama l'rishta. V'im yifneh levavcha v'lo tishma, ונידחת והשתחווית אל אלוהים אחרים ועבדתם. הגדתי לכם היום, כי אבוד תאבדון, לא תאריכון ימים על האדמה אשר אתה עובר את הירדן לבוא שמה לרשתה. העדותי בכם היום את השמיים ואת הארץ, החיים והמוות נתתי לפניך, הברכה והקללה, ובחרת בחיים, למען תחיה אתה וזרעך, לאהבה את אדוני אלוהיך, לשמוע בקולו לדבקה בו, כי הוא חייך ואורך ימיך לשבת על האדמה, אשר נשבע אדוני, לאבותיך, לאברהם, ליצחק וליעקב, לתת להם.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
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 I'll be lifting up the Torah. You had the opportunity to see what it looks like on the inside, but I still lift up the Torah in a tradition called Hagbaha. And so if you are seated, we rise. Page 291, we return the Torah to the Ark. We are seated, and that concludes our service here in the morning, or this element of our service. I will pick up on Zoom. You can go over there now, but I can tell you with certainty that hasn't started yet because I'm not there. I'm immediately walking over there to turn the Zoom on, and I will let you in as soon as I possibly can. Thank you for being part of this, and if you want to join for a discussion of Jonah, please join me in the Zoom room. Shana Tova.